Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Let's take a moment of time to reflect and appreciate what all we have at Holden Beach. And it's a wonderful place. Just a moment. Bow your heads, please. Thank you very, very much. If you will, silence your cell phones. All right, we'll officially call the meeting to order and say welcome to all of you in this time of the year when we look forward to the holiday season. And let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag to my right, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For anyone in the room that might not be aware, that corner of the room has the paperwork for the meeting, the agenda, and so forth. Help yourself. If you cannot hear, raise your hand, and I'll try to get the microphones to work and get people to speak up. So at this point in time, we're on number 4, consideration of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's approved as presented. Madam Clerk, conflict of interest?
Part 6, Rule 13E of the 2024 Rules of Procedure requires members to disclose any potential conflicts of interest. Please state if you have any potential conflicts. Mayor Holden.
None.
Mayor Pro Tem Myers.
No conflicts.
Commissioner Smith.
No, sir.
Commissioner Thomas.
No.
Commissioner Dyer.
No.
And Commissioner Parker.
No.
Thank you.
Next item is consideration of approving the minutes for October 21, 25. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's unanimously approved. Number 7 on our agenda is an opportunity for those that have signed up to speak. Have 3 minutes, and the first person that can speak on agenda items only. Will Carter?
Will Carter, 108 Starfish Drive, Holden Beach, North Carolina. Last good thing the Property Owners Association did for this town was Bridgeview Park over here. That was in 2015, around 2015, 2016, really before that. That was back when Commissioner Smith and Mayor Holden were on the board, close to it. Right after that, a group of people that have moved here from dark blue cities all around the country, retired on our vacation resort. They decided they would take over the Property Owners Association. From that point on, they elected a group of their people. All of them talk kind of funny, but they went through and
You have to get to your point.
pardon.
You have to get to your point, subject
Well, I
matter.
am.
Okay.
Farmers got 6 or 7 ways to get to town.
When you got 3 minutes and you're supposed to be speaking on number 17 as pointed out by my commissioners to my right.
Now, in order to do that, I have to preface what I'm going to say. Are we starting 3 minutes over?
No.
No.
What is my time now?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Can I get my time back? Did they just interrupted me?
You've got 15 extra seconds, Mr. Carter. Please
Okay,
proceed.
well, when the Property Owners Association from the dark blue cities, I call them the retirement refugees. They went through and they came down here. They elected their group of commissioners. As soon as they did, they brought in AARP for a seminar on being a retirement community, making Holden Beach a retirement community instead of a vacation resort. This same group of people voted for 4-year terms for commissioners, and so that they could hold on to power by having staggered terms. And, we watched them do all this. They got, 285 people come out and vote for that. As soon as they did that, it ended up, they voted 4-year terms, and we elected 3 local people for the 4-year terms. That upset them pretty badly. And, after that happened, they got back into power, and we have had to listen to all kinds of division on Holden Beach. We have had many problems. They have given us a pier plan that was not really a good pier plan. And tonight, they're gonna vote on withholding $4 million or trading it over so they can kind of stick it to the new commissioners, and they won't have the money there. It won't make any difference if they have that $4 million for the new commissioners. They just want to try and stick it because they're kind of butthurt that they lost. And they never expected with 230 votes, the last vote was 430 people. This time 566 people came out with a mandate that we do not want the Property Owners Association or the retirees running this town anymore. We want to do what a vacation resort needs. We don't want retirees taking it over and making it like theirs, making it like they want. I'd like to remind them that nobody sent out invitations to come move here. And the bridge that brought them in here has a return lane. And if you're not happy with the vacation resort, then you need to go somewhere else. Thank you.
Mr. Bauer?
Greetings all. Jim Bauer, 329 Ocean Boulevard West. I'm on items 15 and 17. The commissioners at the last election have received a decisive vote of 60% against the idea of even any further pier development. I know I'm getting to my point. Item 17, the idea of moving monies around shows some relief on need for funds to use to important matters of the more important matters than, let's say, the pier, especially the beach. Remember, no beach, no rentals, no community. To this end, and while we still have no structures in front of the pier area, I think it would be a great idea to get rid of the pier as soon as humanly possible. I've said it before in front of this group many times. This month's brown puddle of liquid somewhere is tomorrow's hazmat incident. We have no idea what kind of regulations are coming down the pipe that could increase the removal of the pier. We know that the pier can't be fixed. We know that the pier has to be taken down at some point in time. I would say that the next thing that we need to do is to remove the pier and therefore get it done and get it off the books. With the idea of moving money around, I don't understand the sturm and drang of this. I don't understand the storm and noise of it. I've seen money move around in the short 5 years that I've been here, move around like the bilge inside of a boat. We move it from part B to here, we move from here to here, we move from here to here. If there's a good reason to move it, I think it should be moved. And it's not like money is fungible. Money can be moved. A dollar here is a dollar the same here. It can always be moved back. It's not for forever, and I don't think it's such a big deal that it has to have so much negative energy devoted to it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Peter Freer?
Good evening, Peter Freer, 198 Brunswick Avenue West. I'm here to support item number 17, moving the funds from B Park to Beach Renourishment Fund. It's time we have now to refocus on the primary town physical asset, which is beach sand. I understand there's been a lot of important issues and budget issues, but now's the opportunity to refocus on the town's primary physical asset, sand. For background, I was actually a commissioner when the part of the unanimous decision to create the Beach and Inlet Capital Fund and to prepare for a quote-unquote second Central Reach project. You don't remember the Central Reach project was completed in 2017. It put 1.31 million cubic yards of sand between 240 Ocean Boulevard East and 781 Ocean Boulevard West. It was $15 million special obligation fund for 10 years. backed by the property tax. Add another 3 million for the interest. The project was expected to last 10 years. That's why the obligation fund was 10 years. And we actually doubled the property tax for that, and with absolutely no opposition. Everybody did understand. Sand beach is our number one asset and has to be protected. So talking about the fund a little bit, that was a year later when we decided, we need to not do this again. Be zero and have to borrow all the money to do a beach nourishment. So we created this fund, and we started with 18, 19 budget year. Supposed to retire in 10 years. We wanted to accumulate $10 million, $1 million a year, and started with $3 million that was transferred from the BPART fund. Currently, there's a shortfall of $5.29 million, and so we're really making up what we haven't done previously. Is the 1 million per year to get to the 10 million to prevent a catastrophe if we have zero money for the next beach renourishment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freer. Richard?
My name is Richard Wygand. My wife and I live at 359 Serenity Lane. We've owned the property there for 25 years and have been full-time residents of Holden Beach for the past 16 years. I support the transfer of funds to the Beach Nourishment Fund for the purpose of preserving sand on our beach. Sand is our most valuable asset. It is the primary reason by far that tourists come to the beach and why we live here. I walk the beach from the area of the bridge around the inlet to the waterway. I have seen tremendous erosion in that area. With the erosion, the amount of space between the dunes and the sand becoming very, very narrow, and the escarpments that are created by the erosion are difficult for seniors like myself and for people with children and/or people with equipment to move down and up over those escarpments. We've seen so many changes in the federal government ceasing funding for a wide variety of issues that we can no longer rely on federal funding for preserving and maintaining our beach. We need to preserve the fiscal resources to keep our beach. There's no monetary expenditure in the town of Holden Beach that has a higher priority than preserving our beach. This transfer will go a long way to securing that priority. The July issue of Southern Living's Travel and Leisure magazine ranked Holden Beach as the #1 calmest and quietest beach in America. The article goes on to say why Holden Beach is so special for both locals and for tourists, because it is known for its wide sandy shores. We need to ensure that we continue to have wide sandy shores. On a related matter, if I was a commissioner, I'd be offended by the accusation that my action to place an item on the commission agenda was not transparent. If the recently elected commissioner understood the process of how an agenda was built and published, he would understand the inclusion was part of the normal process. Otherwise, how would he have been made aware of the item and had enough lead time to basically personally attack commissioners and to incite residents? For that matter, a similar transaction took place last December when almost $3 million was transferred from the general fund to the Beach Nourishment Fund without any fuss.
Sylvia Pate?
Sylvia Pate, 111 Charlotte Street. I'm also addressing item 17, the transfer of the funds from the B Park. I want to preface my comments by saying that I'm certainly not against transferring funds to preserve our beach. I'm an advocate of the beach. And I think we do need to reserve some funds for the future to take care of our renourishment project. But I think my concern is the timing of this issue. I don't know that there's anything that's earth shattering and why we have to do this like immediately. I would suggest that we could wait later in the year to do it. And I think it was either the August meeting or the September meeting, there was a task order that was sent back to the audit committee to ask them to look at the B Park fund, to set up a fund balance possibly, or to recommend some recommendations back to them. I listened to the September 19th meeting of the audit committee, and I went to the audit committee meeting yesterday. And my assessment from that meeting was they were as confused as a lot of us are about the B Park fund. And so based on that, and I know they haven't sent back up any recommendations to you as far as the policy is concerned, I think the item, I think it's a good idea for you to probably discuss the item, but I would suggest that you not take any action on the item until you get some recommendations back from the audit committee on the task that you sent them to work on, because there is a lot of confusion about what's in the B Park fund. There's lots of different things in there other than just occupancy tax and how that's all spread out. And it's a bit confusing, and it was a bit confusing on the part of the audit committee yesterday from the meeting I attended. So I would just like to say I'm not against moving money to the sand fund. I think we do need to build that fund up for the future, because we know we're going to have to renourish the beach at some point. But I just think it's a timing issue is my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Becky Green?
Becky Green, 115 Sunshine. I'm also talking about agenda item number 17. There have been a lot of accusations about a lack of transparency, and an explanation for the movement of the $4 million is on the cover sheet for the agenda of tonight's meeting, which goes out to the homeowners in advance. So I don't see what the problem is with the transparency of that. People don't come most of the time to these meetings or budget meetings to get the facts, but they go to Facebook for their information. And I know, read it on Facebook, it must be true. There have been 2 surveys and 1 referendum, which I guess did not satisfy some, but all 3 overwhelmingly says that a pier is not a priority. My fear is if the $4 million is not moved to the beach inlet fund, the new board will disregard the wishes of the majority of the island homeowners, like it has done in the past, and build or repair the pier, and then increase the taxes when the sand is needed. Therefore, I am in favor of moving the $4 million to the beach and inlet fund.
Keith Smith?
Keith Smith, 105 Durham. The concern that I have, item number 17, the concern I have is a couple bullet points. If it's a priority to move this, which obviously it is, the priority I would have thought would have been set back when you set the budget. In other words, just give everybody a year to, hey, we're going to do this in December, plan it out, and be methodical about it, be transparent about it. And I disagree. Three days before the meeting is not enough time for most people to digest this. When you're going to move 61% of available funds out of an operational fund into a secure fund, you're tying the hands, which I think that was the urgent matter coming up. And I agree with the young lady that and with the winking of the eyes, we found confirmation that there is no, it's not based in policy or fiscalness. It's to stick it to the next board. And so, which I mean, and that's your purview. You can do that. You've been elected to do that. And so here's one thing I would leave you with. And I think at the end of the day, this might surprise you.
I think what it's gonna do is set up a precedent. And you've done it last year, as was noted, 2.9 million. And now you want to move 3.3 million that's not been originally budgeted. So when future boards, and you set this precedent, it's possible that they can look back on those and say, hey, we've moved 2.9 at one time, we've moved 3.3 at one time. So what's the problem with moving $3 and $4 million around? And we set that as a precedent, then it may not be the best way to move money for the town. I mean, Daniel probably would prefer to move large chunks of money rather than 10, 20, or $100,000 at a time. So it's probably easier for him to do that. But as far as the fiscal responsibility and a fiscal pattern of the town, I don't know that that's the best path forward. But hey, you guys won the election 2 years ago. You can absolutely do exactly what you want to do. And I applaud you for doing that. And so that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Woods?
Hello, John Woods, 159 Ocean Boulevard East. I'm here to talk about item 17. I'm in favor of moving the park funds to the beach and inlet fund. Why? Because we need to embrace a new reality that FEMA is not the partner of the past. In September's meeting, interim town manager Christie said that she was informed by one of David Rouser's minions, or I'm sorry, his people, that our projects are not going to be funded like the Army Corps of Engineers projects. And Sylvia Pate received a letter from Mr. Rouser saying pretty much the same effect, that we can apply for funding. Applying for funding is not as good as having a contract. Now, there's all kinds of things going on. North Carolina is suing for FEMA for not providing funds. North Carolina counties in the western part are not getting money from FEMA, and there's chaos at FEMA at the moment. A third of the people have left, and the people in North Carolina are saying we can't file the processes that they are putting in front of us to get money. So the next, be that as it may, the next board and the next town leadership, you're in for a tough go. And we're going to be here for you because we're here with you. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Mr. Hawk?
Chad Hawk, 1222 Ocean Boulevard West. What a conundrum to put everybody under here, right? We all want the beach. We all need beach nourishment. But I mean, I'm going to go with my gut here. I think it's being done that there's a worry that this money will be used against things that people made promises it would, which is, I was proud enough to run with 4 people this year. Maria, Sylvia, each one. 3 different times I've sat with them and talked with them publicly, privately, where they made it clear they don't want taxpayer money paying for this pier. And I think there's a fear that that's where this money that's going, that's why we're moving this money in, that there's this fear that the new commissioners are going to come in and go spend the money on the pier. They've said it publicly, they don't want to. They've said no tax money. It was voted down. So I look at it that we're doing this in fear. I agree we should be moving money into the nourishment fund. The way we've done it, I kind of question why we're doing it so fast. I'll say no. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hawk. Did I miss anyone that thought they had signed up? Okay, we're going to move on to number 8 on the agenda. Mr. McGraney?
Yes, Elsa from Martin Starnes is here to give a presentation of the 2025 financials.
Welcome.
Good evening. On behalf of Martin Starnes and Associates, I'd like to present the Town of Holden Beach's 2025 audited financial statements. And before I get started, I do want to preface this. This is a draft copy of the financial statements due to the fact that the federal government has not yet issued the OMB compliance supplement that is required for single audits. So today, the LGC extended the deadline from December 31st to February 12th. So your report has not yet been submitted because we are waiting on this document from the federal government. But today I'm presenting the final numbers as they stand at the time. Some audit highlights. The town received an unmodified opinion. This is a clean audit opinion. And as always, it's been a pleasure working with the town. I'd like to thank Daniel McGraney, Penny, Heather, several of the staff of the town have been just wonderful to work with. It's truly is a pleasure working with you all. And anytime we request information, it's given to us timely, it's accurate. It's a great working relationship that we have with you guys. There were no internal control findings and no compliance findings noted. And excuse me, the local government defines available fund balance as total fund balance less non-spendable items, less items restricted by state statute. The LGC uses this calculation to compare you to other units. Your total fund balance for the general fund for 2025 was 3.6 million. You had stabilization by state statute of 272,000. This gives you an available fund balance for the general fund of 3.4 million. This is a decrease in your available fund balance of 1.9 million. And this decrease is primarily due to overall decreases in fund balance due to the $2.9 million transfer to the Capital Reserve Fund. Your available fund balance as a percent of expenditures for the general fund was 82.1%, and the town's minimum is 40%, so you're well above that, and the LGC minimum is 8%. You're above that as well. The LGC considers 8% to be 1 month's worth of fund balance, so currently you have approximately 10 months worth of fund balance as of fiscal year 25. Total fund balance for the general fund was 3.6 million, a decrease of 1.29 million. Again, this is due to that transfer to the Capital Reserve Fund. General fund summary. Your revenues for the year were 4.8 million, a change of about 1%. And your expenditures were 4.1 million, an increase of about 13%. I will detail these further along in the presentation. Your top three revenues for the general fund were property taxes at 69%, permits and fees 9%, other taxes and licenses also 9%, and then other revenue 13%. Property taxes were 3.3 million, a change of less than 1% overall comparable to prior year. Permits and fees were 415,000, a decrease of about 18% due to fewer building permits and fewer applications compared to the prior year. Other taxes and licenses were 460,000, a $22,000 increase of about 5% overall comparable to prior year. Your top three expenditures for the general fund were general government at 36%, public safety made up 40%, transportation 12%, and other expenditures were 12%. Your public safety expenditures were 1.6 million, about a 9% increase there. The increase is primarily due to capital outlay for vehicles. General government was 1.5 million, a 37% increase, and the increase is due to the payout of the former town manager and a new subscription-based IT arrangement. Transportation was 493,000, a decrease of about 8% due to vacancies in the positions in the current year. Your quick ratio for the water and sewer fund is calculated at 6.35. The LGC would be concerned if it were less than 1, so you're well above that. Your performance indicator of unrestricted cash for your water and sewer fund divided by total expenses less depreciation and adding back debt service principal This is a metric that the LGC measures. The minimum required is 16%. You guys are at 23.69%. And then the operating income performance for water and sewer, you had an operating loss of 512,000, adding back depreciation of 640,000, and backing out your debt service payments of 662,000. This gives you an operating loss of 535,000, and the LGC is concerned because this is a negative number. I will detail this in the next slide. The performance indicator of concern is the operating net loss for the water and sewer fund, and you must provide a letter to the LGC. It typically is within 60 days of this audit presentation, but they do not want the letter until the audit can be submitted, which again is delayed due to the federal government level. So you should submit a letter. I believe this is the same indicator that was in the past, so you should submit that letter once you're able to have the audit submitted. And this concludes my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Thomas?
So I have a couple questions. I'm wondering if anybody has an explanation on why the property taxes collected has gone down since last year, since I don't believe we have less homes that are paying property tax.
I can answer that. This came up yesterday in the audit committee meeting as well. It's primarily due to a slightly less collection rate. We were at like 98.6% or something like that, where last year we were at 99.1. But I mean, it was within, I think, 17,000, so that's equivalent, or can be equivalent to one person not paying tax per
Okay.
year.
But, okay, so as a follow-on, do we have a process that we continue to collect those taxes that aren't paid?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and with the penalty added onto them. So.
Okay, good. My other question was, this is great information and very nice summary. Why do we only do it for the general fund and not for the B part fund, which actually has just as much revenue and expenditures?
We can certainly add that next time if we're contracted with you guys next year. This is typically done at the request of finance or the board. This is the first time that's actually been raised to us, so we can certainly add that information in. That information is in the draft copy of the financial statements that you guys should have. So if you want to, if there's any questions you'd like me to answer, I'm happy to answer those.
No, I just think it would be important to see the exact same kind of summary for the B part fund, since it's also equivalent or even more money in there.
Sure. Definitely add that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Then
I just wanted to give a shout out to Martin and Starnes also, because they were very accommodating to us. We had a big issue during their field work. We were unable to pull what we needed to pull from our software due to software issues, and that set us back, and they were very accommodating with their schedule to still get everything done by the October 31st deadline. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for a good report. Van Wayne. Many years of good service, sir.
And then Heather, I'll just walk up if I,
If that
okay,
works.
sure.
Thank you.
My name is Fran Way. I'm a coastal engineer. We've been working with the town for about 20 years now. And we're just going to briefly go over the summary of the annual monitoring that we did this year. It was a good year, but we can go to the next slide, please. Oh, I'll do that. Sorry. So our annual monitoring, we do this every year, and we do a volume change, we do shoreline change, and the town has been doing it since 2001, and it's for nourishment planning, and it's also for FEMA eligibility. And so, that's why we do it, and obviously the beach, keeping an eye on the beach and the health of the beach, the entire beach from inlet to inlet is a good idea. And this is not this hurricane season we just finished, but it's the hurricane season from a year ago. Just to kind of refresh everyone's memory of the last hurricane season is probably, most people, it's a lot more recent. This one, last season, 2024, really wasn't too bad. We had the Tropical Storm Debbie, and then Tropical Storm 8, which is also called Potential Tropical Cyclone 8, PTC 8. And that did actually qualify for FEMA mitigation. But the way FEMA does, mitigation, they have to do it countywide. And they have to add up, and they have certain metrics of the population of the county. And the county did qualify for it, but the beaches were healthy. And the beaches really didn't need any kind of mitigation from PTCA. And then just to reiterate, the 2022 nourishment basically, and one of the public's comments was the town has put in, 2017, they did a very large nourishment, 1.3 million. And then in 2022, they did another nourishment that was about 1.5 million. A lot of sand. And this was a FEMA project related to the quote unquote engineered beach status that FEMA has. And obviously there has been some, some gossip and we don't know what will happen. It's kind of a moving target. There was a little pushback. There was some grumbling about trying to get rid of the engineered beach, but actually the town and pretty much up and down the coast from Texas to Maine, a lot of the coastal communities did kind of band together and really kind of fend off that. But it's still it's still an issue, obviously, that we're going to keep dealing with. But we're about 3.5 years after that nourishment in 2022. And then there was even a kind of a cumulative benefit from the 2017 nourishment, which still has sand here, and the 2022 nourishment. And, the beach looks really good 3.5 years after that. There were a couple hot spots where we will talk about. And they're not really hot spots, but we'll talk about them here. The volume analysis, surveys, we do the surveys up and down the beach every 1,000 feet, about 50 survey transects. They go out, about 1/4 mile offshore and then this is the, right around 20 feet of water. This is the depth of closure, DOC, excuse me. And the DOC that's basically where beyond here in deeper water, sand doesn't move around much, but shallower sand does move around. And this is all part of the system here. So a lot of times, and even right now, some of the sand moved, from the upper beach and then moved to the near shore, but it's right in the near shore and still in the system. But because obviously, and even with the nourishments, this depth of closure, there's the sand, the beach is much healthier in this near shore out to, almost 1/4 mile offshore. And then we do several calculations. We do the upper beach, which is obviously that's very important for beachgoers. And then, but we also go all the way out to the depth of closure and just see what's going on with the volumes. And then just again with the cumulative effect of the large nourishments and that the sand that we brought on shore, it's all beach compatible, but it was slightly coarser and it stays around a little bit longer than the finer material. So the beach is still in much better shape than it was pre-2017. For volume change, we're going after the depth of closure here. As you can see, the total volume change is 450,000 cubic yards of gain. So that's almost like a nourishment itself. But if anyone recalls, the previous year we measured a little bit higher than normal erosion. And when you kind of include the erosion from this year, the gain from this year with the erosion from last year, it's about kind of evens out. And that makes sense because last year the beach, it really didn't look like it lost the amount of sand that we were measuring. And that's just kind of, we're doing those transects every 1,000 feet, and we can assume, straight and parallel contours in between the transects, but obviously there's some undulations and things like that. And it's not, 100%, there's some tolerance there and variability. But it's also a good thing. It's refreshing, and it's actually the nourishment is doing better. We usually think of the beach losing maybe about 150,000 cubic yards a year, 200,000 yards a year. This year it gained, but then last year it just evens out with last year. But it's still a good result, very good result. The mean high water shoreline, and this was a little different. This is more the upper beach, and this did see there was a little bit more erosion. So we have seen a thinning of the upper beach in some areas. This is still more of the Central Reach bar area. When you put that sand out there, the way it's constructed, it kind of has to quote unquote equilibrate. But there was some mean high water change. There was some erosion, but when we look, that sand just kind of went to the near shore. And then on the west end, we'll go here. We also measured dune vegetation width at all the stations, and you can see on the west end that the width of the dune vegetation is over 400 feet wide, up to 500 feet, and then usually most of the shoreline has most of the dune system is over 100 feet wide vegetation. And then on the east end near like Amazing Grace, that's doing a lot better than it used to, even though it's still on the shorter. Got the width is a little on the small side. Inlet shorelines. We'll talk the inlet shorelines we also monitor, and the Lockwood Folly inlet shoreline it's been healthy. They have been, every other year the Corps has had more money because of the state shallow draft fund has been funding it. As long as the state shallow draft funding can keep doing that, the Lockwood Folly inlet and the Lockwood Folly shoreline, it should, hang in there. On the west end, there was a little bit, you can see this where this is actually nourishment sand from probably 2017, and you can kind of tell it's a little bit coarser. It's getting back here, there is a little bit of an erosional arc right there, but the sand is going to move there and fill that in. It'll just take a little time. But we are going to talk next about the Ocean Isle Terminal Groin. And the Ocean Isle Terminal Groin, they have to monitor, and this is a groin right here. And you can see immediately this is a downdrift area towards Shallotte Inlet. There's a pretty stark contrast between the updrift and the downdrift shorelines there. We're not really, from the Holden Beach perspective, we're not as interested in that. We're a little interested in that. But the shoreline over here gets monitored as well. And we will just continue to monitor this shoreline. This is kind of the effective area where we might see something. But obviously recall that the Shallotte Inlet Barrow area is right here. And even back in 2001, they took too much sand out of there, and they did cause some erosion along the Holden Beach shoreline. We'll continue to look at this. And then, let me see here. This is just from 2025 to 2000. The beach is much healthier now in terms of background erosion. But then this one area, and this is one area that I'm going to talk about. This area here, it's kind of around the 1200 block. It's right where the Intercoastal Waterway kind of takes a little bend. And this is kind of a long-term growth issue, where this is the bottom area is 1993, and the above area is 2025. And if you look over here where that bend is, basically the way these shorelines work, near the inlet, there's usually this little feature, and it's, a drumstick feature a lot of times they call it. And the drumstick feature, it was closer to this area right here. And now the drumstick feature has moved a little farther west. And that's where this change in the shoreline on this west area, that's kind of what's seen. This area used to be kind of more of inlet, and now it's going to be more like normal standard shoreline, not inlet related. But you can almost see from here to that bend and that little drumstick feature, and now that drumstick feature is over here, and it's moving, to the west, it shows accretion there, which is good. But that one little area is tough because, we drove it today and it's difficult to get, and there's a large scarp there. I was discussing, we can try to knock down some of those scarps, especially when we get closer to tourist season, to really try to knock that, we can discuss that. But that was really, I'm not sure the CAMA would, really want us to reshape that beach. And it's Mother Nature, it's physics, but, and I realize that's an erosional area and you can't put your beach chair there at high tide sometimes. But it's the beach out to depth of closure and even the dune width are very healthy in that area. So and I think that is my last slide. Oh, no, sorry. Offshore bar area for the next offshore bar area nourishment project. That is in the works. We'll get that in here. It's for about a little over 1 million cubic yards. It's right in the same general area as the old bar area. So it's good material. And it's just right off Holden Beach, as you can see. And then the core 50-year study, that's not happening anymore, but they did do a lot of data collection offshore, and we have a really good idea about the next bar area offshore, thanks to their data collections off there. So the core 50-year study really didn't work out the way everyone thought it would, but there is still some usage and value in the data they took. And then so we'll still kind of coordinate with FEMA if there's anything that gets FEMA brought in on. And then the Lockwood Folly Inlet crossing, Lockwood Folly Inlet outer channel navigation, West End analysis for the Ocean Isle Terminal groin, and then we got the permit application for the offshore bar area. And then we'll continue to kind of work with the town and get that next offshore bar area, all the data collected to really get in a permit application for that here 5-7 years from now. And that's it.
Any questions from the commission?
Thank you, Fran. We have wonderful data, as you said, going back 20 years, more than 20 years. Is there some way we can take that and play it forward to help us plan? As you probably heard tonight, there's a lot of controversy about how much do we need to set aside for future nourishment. What's appropriate? And then you read the papers, Oak Island just wrote a check for $40 million for their nourishment project. So it'd be nice to have some plan. What if we got hit with another Matthew or Florence or Isaias? What's the, it's a 50-year storm. What's the odds of that happening? What do we think what's our exposure? How much sand could we lose? How much cubic yards and what can we do? Because right now, as I said, we're kind of thrashing in, is 4 million enough? Do we need 40 million? Do we need, and it'd be nice to say, here's a realistic, granted, past performance is no guarantee of future results. Sure. But, we've got 20 years, we can play it forward and say, if the same thing happens, what do we need? How much money do we need to have in the bank to handle that?
Yes, we can work on that with the town. Yeah, and obviously, as you mentioned, there are several variables that we have to factor in, and there's more a percentage and, you know, how conservative you want to be, or, you know, a little less conservative. But yeah, yes, there are ways we can do that. And then, you know, even factoring in sea level rise and, you know, and obviously we will factor in, you know, the recent hurricane activity. Knock on wood, we've had the last couple years have not been bad. But yes,
Do other towns do that? Is that, you know,
yes.
beach management plans or beach
Yes.
master nourishment plans?
Yes, and then a lot of times when, yes, a lot of times, as the Corps did, you know, the Corps was looking for, you know, 50 years of sand, and that was 11 million cubic yards of sand for Holden Beach. They really couldn't find it offshore, 11 million. The town, we've been good at finding, you know, 1.5 million, 1.3 million. We've got one lined up here for a little over 1 million, and then the next one, it also looks like that. So we have been able to find sand, and a lot of times when you do have to go 30 years, 50 years, they do want some sort of financial prediction or analysis, and so we have done that, and some towns do that.
Okay. As I said, it's just, I think it would be helpful to have some, it'll change, we can modify it and probabilities change, but based on this projection, we need to get ready for, you know, I mean, it could hit
Right.
next year if we got hit with another one. So, okay, that'd be great. Thank
Sure.
you.
No, I'd be happy to do that.
Any more questions? Doc, Rick?
No, sir.
No?
Chris, oh, sorry. Christie may have something to add.
Christie, are you there?
Yes, sir. I would just add that, friend, before you sign on for that, you might want to make it clear that that would be a different proposal that you would have to present for the board's approval, that wouldn't fall into your normal price of what you do for our annual monitoring.
Yes, correct. That would be out of scope.
Mr. Manager, you got anything you want to add?
Now that Fran is always thorough. I've known Fran for a number of years, and I just always have to tell him, for me, let's bring it down just a tad, because you know, layman's terms is always best for me. And he just always does a great job, and appreciate that. Thanks.
Thanks, Fran.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Fran.
Thank you.
Chief?
Good evening. Keep it short and sweet. It's November. We're ready for Thanksgiving and turkey. Had the festival last weekend of October. We talked about that. It was a good crowd, good turnout, good weather. So that was good. Also last month, I mentioned that we had several car break-ins that didn't show up on the report last month because they were current. And so in this month, November, you'll see the October report where you see the car break-ins, about 4 or 5 pages into the report. So if you have questions on those, we kind of talked about it last month. There's really nothing new. The same female, best we can tell, same female. She's hitting on weekends. So I'm gonna ask everybody to keep your eyes open. Between 3 and 6 a.m. She's driving some type of 4-door hatchback. She's been to Holden Beach twice, Ocean Isle once, Sunset twice, North Myrtle Beach 3 or 4 times, Horry County PD twice, and Oak Island once. So she's getting around, and we are all looking for her, and eventually she will mess up, and we will catch her, and then we will all have a talk with her. But if you see anything suspicious, your neighbors walking around at 3 to 6 o'clock in the morning, call us. I would rather go talk to your neighbors and find out they're supposed to be there than find out the next day that it was not your neighbor, it was someone shady. So other than that, that's what I've got for you this month. And questions, comments, or concerns, I'll be glad to.
Commissioner's question?
No, sir.
Go ahead. I forgot to talk to you about that. If you want to, go ahead and mention that other.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
yes, so town manager and I were talking before the meeting, and discussing whether we were gonna wait until next month or this month, but we're in the process of doing the interviews internally for the detective position. So hopefully when I come back next month, that we will have that position. I'll talk to you about that. So right now, we're still in the interviewing and all that phase, but we are working on that. So.
All right. Thank you and your staff, sir.
Yeah, thank y'all for everything.
Mr. Evans?
Good afternoon. My report this week starts with, one drunk driver, one elevator stuck or a problem, escorts or convoy falls, good intent, heart problem, a hit and run, an intoxicated person, I'm sorry, I'm describing the inspection department, hold on a second, let me get to the report. Wow, I was reading that going, man, that fits. All right. Here we go. All right, active new home permits is 30. Other active permits is 506. Permits issued over 30,000 is 66. Permits issued over 100,000 is 6. We've got 2 substantial improvements. Permits issued waiting for pickup is 45. Total permits in the box right now are 635. Now, that's an indication of the end of the season. They'll start getting finals and start getting COs, but mainly finals and some closeouts on some smaller, probably remodels because of the 30,000 and 100,000. But they'll start closing. That number will probably drop by 200. Permits in review are 9. CAMA issued is 2. CAMA exemptions is 12. Zoning issued is 10. Notice of violation 6. Delineations 8. CAMA site inspections is 18. Permits issued this month were 91. Reinspection fees for last month was $1,350. Permit service for inspections from 10/1 to 10/31 was 105, and the total inspections made were 260. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Commissioners, questions, anybody?
Nope.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you,
Thank you,
Tim.
Tim.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McGraney?
This finance report, looking at the general fund, the revenues are considerably higher, and that's due to tax bills being sent out earlier this year. And already getting some of those back in. For the water and sewer fund.
Mr. McGraney, speak in the microphone, please.
Water and sewer fund, it looks like revenues are down, but that's just due to revenues not being posted yet. That'll come back up by next month. And for B part, is very comparable to last year. Expenses are down, but that's just the debt service that was paid in September this year was paid in October last year. And I just wanted to clarify with the audit, the LGC indicator that we were paying for, same one as last year, and that's just due to the way our sewer fee is collected. We have the special legislation to allow us to do the capital charge, and that's what pays for our debt service, which is included in that ratio as an operating expense, but the revenue is not considered an operating revenue. So that's why there's an imbalance there. And also it was a little higher this year than last year because the sale of 796 to pay off the debt service, that payment was included in the expense as well. But then the revenue for the sale, since that's not an operating revenue, was not included. So
Thank you for that explanation.
And is it fair to say we do it that way so it shows up on our tax bill and we can deduct it?
I'm not sure what the tax benefit is, but
My
yeah,
understanding
I believe
is it causes some extra work for you, but it gives us a break.
Yeah.
On our income taxes. Thanks.
Any other questions?
So no concerns?
No concern.
Perfect, thank you.
Mr. Benton, Public Works.
Slowed down a lot since last month. We've run about half as many service calls as what we did run previous. We're still been working pretty diligently about fixing the water meter, trying to get the reread numbers down. I'm the one responsible for all the snowflakes. I know that was me. I don't think it's ever too early to spread a little bit Christmas cheer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And other than that, see it. Any questions?
Ms. Thomas?
No, I just want to say that I really appreciate this report because it shows how much stuff you guys are doing that nobody knows. It's all behind the scenes and we don't see it.
Yes, ma'am.
We see the police, you know, we know about the money all the time. But this is a great report. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other commissioner questions? Town Manager Chadwick. We're on number 14, folks.
I'm gonna break bad. I'm coming up here.
All right.
Get ready. Hey, look, my dad's a preacher, so get ready. Hey, get right or get left. Turn or burn, baby. Yeah. Thank y'all so much. Just a few updates, and actually I've only got just a little more red for y'all. For the Greensboro lift station, CO, not quite. They got the punch.
They gotta get us our elevation stick.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Everything else, I think the doors, the doors were finally delivered from Timbuktu somewhere, you know. It only took them 2 or 3 months, I think, so.
Yeah, they have a final building. We can't
Yeah,
issue
final
the
building,
CO.
that's right, yeah, okay.
We can't issue the CO and the claimant guidelines until we get the elevation stick.
And, yeah, and we are coordinating with both, thank you very much, with both federal and state agencies for the reimbursements to go ahead and get those going. Lot Q, restrooms. Now it looks like after our discussions, we finally started getting a new updated timeline, and it's going to looking like the middle of December. But we have talked to the state for an extension and are confident of an extension. So that's where we are with that. We'll leave it there. Let's see, I'm gonna go on down to the Ocean Boulevard stormwater. Staff has facilitated data flowing from the engineers to the Corps, and we're planning a meeting with them within the next 2 weeks is when we're gonna have that. The Resilient Coastal Communities Program, that engineers contacted Tim with next steps, which includes forming a working group, and y'all had a meeting yesterday as well, correct? Or was it?
Yes,
Yeah, I think, yeah. And this is part of phase 1 of the program, and Tim and the Planning and Inspections Department will be coordinating the group for the project.
Right, I think that, what we gotta do is we have to select 5 people for a team, and that's to be the start of the process. We've already, named a community action team leader, project manager, which is Jana. She'll be stepping into that role, and with that team, there'll be at least 1 more staff member from the planning department, but we need 3 volunteers that meet the criteria to finish the team. And so what we're hoping is that the board will allow us to pick those 3 team members, because we really need to have our first meeting before the middle of December.
Hence, that's where I'm sort of trying to assume to say that we were gonna let Tim go ahead and manage that group. I think that's an important thing for us to go ahead and keep those steps forward. So it'll expedite things a little more. The funds have been sent to the Corps for the town, and the state has sent a check to them as well, and they're awaiting confirmation of receipt. We still haven't heard about if they have received it yet or not. And Christy, if there's anything that you want to chime in on, let me know. That was one of the things that we had discussed
Employee updates. I do want, Christie is now the liaison with the local engagement of the ASBPA Coastal Advocacy Network. I think that's very good for us. For ASBPA is a strong organization. And so when we were at NC Byways a couple of weeks ago, we talked it over. Corey Bishop is our new officer in the police department. And Jana now has her plumbing inspector one certification. So that just proof right there. But and then I want to give some kudos. This is not even on here, so like I said, I got a lot of red right here. Sorry about that. But kudos to Christy, to Heather, and the staff for both a successful volunteer luncheon and a successful veterans luncheon. Great food, great fellowship, with a time of recognition and reflection. Also want to give kudos to Tim, Carrie, and the rest of the planning and inspection department for providing their 14th annual contractor seminar. It was packed. It was a packed house, man. It was in here. If you looked in here, I know a couple of y'all were in here. It was packed house, and always great information and updates, and helps with some of the continuing education that they need. So it's an incentive for them to come. Plus, we can explain to them where we're coming from in the island. I've never heard of it where I am, or any places I've been. I even had an email from the NFIP planner in the Eastern District for the Department of Public Safety. And it's the only one in her district that she wanted to dote on the whole department for what they were doing. And then this is one that's probably going to be a surprise. Public Works, that we just talked about them. They work day in, day out. I want to give them a shout out to make sure you know what they do and have done. They took it upon themselves to collect the old metal around the building, old meters, everything else that they had. Normally, most would probably just been thrown away, but they didn't. They kept it. I was asked by them when I went over to visit, Heather and I went over there, if they could take the metals and sell so they could buy new equipment for their trucks. Some were using old drills, or some were using their own drills, their own equipment, and everything else. They only wanted to worry about the job being completed. So if something happened, something messed up, then they would start using their own instead of asking, let's go ahead and replace them, let's replenish them. Well, I'm going to tell you, we're going to buy them a little more than that because they took it there, and there was over $10,000 worth of scrap. I told Beef, I said, to me, it's unacceptable. If, and I understand you do what you got to do. They need the equipment that they need in every vehicle that they've got to do. So go ahead and do it. And he's making a list of items purchasing. So there's probably going to be a trailer in there too, because what you didn't know is they're using your trailer right now, right? Tandem. And it was single axle that they were using originally. And so they would go and take one mower, then have to go back over and take another mower. But they were doing it religiously every day. To me, they need to have what they need. Not just them, everybody here. So that's very important. I just want to tell you that's the type of employees that you have that work every day of the week. The police department, as we have heard, he and I were, Jeremy and I, we were here on Veterans Day, and we were doing a little extra work, and we ended up going to lunch. But there was a boater needed some help trying to find, and so they were just trying to call around to see if they could find a place that they could dock. That's caliber of people that you have working here day in and day out. You don't know those things that happen.
customer service staff, you know, so you're gonna hear me giving kudos like this because they need to hear it. It's very important. That staff you have here, and I know you know that. I just want to thank them for making transition. It makes my life easier to know that you've got Christy, you've got Heather, everybody here that they make the place where you live. And it's very important. You go out there, I'm not telling you to, but I think it's important. Most of you do. Tell them thank you. You know, whenever you see them, because they're going to do it. Because when they call, you know, I got an email today. He said, we'll send somebody right on over there. And it's one of those things. We're here for the staff. We're here for you. So I just like that. Some upcoming events. I'll try not to be too long.
Take it down.
Turkey trot. Thanksgiving morning. Go ahead and get that stuff going. Because if you're going to be eating a lot, you need to do a turkey trot. You know. So it's going to be at 8 a.m. So far, there are about 250 that are ready. Over 250. So it's probably going to be breaking records this year because I think it's going to be 500 or 600. I think that it could be that many people running. Christmas tree lighting is on December 4th with entertainment at 5:30 and the lighting is at 6. As part of this event, there will be a snowman creation competition. The snowman must be edible. So look up everything. And so, and if you're eating the edible snowman from the competition, you can help work it off because on Saturday, December the 6th at 8 a.m., there'll be a reindeer dash and a Santa saunter. It's going to be here at Town Hall, 2-mile route for a fun run walk. So help work that off. And then at 9 a.m. that day, there will be a Sandy Paws dog parade. No fee, but collecting pet supplies for the animal shelter. So that's everything on that. Christy, I need it. Miss anything? Y'all miss anything? Thank y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, we're on number 16. Turn the page here.
Oh. I guess it is me.
15, we didn't hear enough about block.
Oh. Just to let you know that because the Board of Commissioners reached a stalemate at the last meeting regarding the RFQ, I'll be daggone it. I cannot keep this thing. I'm going to stand up. Here we go, just like this. Staff offered to bring back a revised RFQ and path for moving forward to a stage for this budget year. After much discussion, the staff decided that it is more prudent to wait until the new board is seated to bring something forward so the board does not inherit a project and can discuss their thoughts because it may just take it, you know, it'd just be that much longer. So, thank you.
All right. Now we can turn the page to number 16. Madam Clerk.
We're looking for.
Tighten his seatbelt.
Get distracted. Right. We're looking for approval of resolution 2508, and all we would be doing is adding the new town manager to the bank card. To the bank card. It would keep the same. It would keep Mayor Pro Tem Myers, the mayor, Christy, Daniel, and add Brian to it also.
Okay. Everybody understand that? Number 17, Ms. Thomas, Mr. Parker.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2508.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. It's unanimous. Ms. Thomas and Mr. Parker, it's number 17.
Okay, number 17. You can read here, it says that we're The Beach and Inlet Fund is significantly underfunded relative to the 10 million in 10 years goal when it was established in 2018. The fund balance currently stands at just over 5 million. Transferring 4 million from the B part fund will put the sand fund back on track to achieve its saving goal while still leaving a sufficient balance in the B part fund. So as a background, I don't know if everyone knows, but Holden Beach collects 6% of the gross receipts of the rentals. 1% goes directly to Brunswick County. We send that over monthly. 3% of the receipts as for rentals must be used for tourism development and other related programs, and 2% is supposed to must be used for beach renourishment and protection. In the past, this has actually been used to pay the debt on the Central Reach instead of saving for future projects. This is a 1.2 million every year that we've been paying for the Central Reach instead of saving for future projects, which is what the intent is. Up to half of the occupancy tax can be used for beach renourishment. So if the 2% had been escrowed as originally planned, the balance would be over 7 million. If half of the gross receipts had been escrowed, the balance would be over 10 million. So this is a shortfall in our savings plan. In addition to that, we have a CIP that we established a year or two ago that says we need to have 25 million in 15 years. So we're working towards both of those goals at the same time. Currently, the B part fund has a balance of about $8 million. The B part fund isn't really supposed to be a savings. It should be a zero balance. So what comes in, we should be spending. So to have accrued $8 million is very unusual in the B part fund. And there's no plan on what that would be used for. So right now, we're suggesting, we're going to make to transfer 4 million of that into the beach and inlet reserve fund. So we bring it back up to where it should be at the 10 million. And the other thing I wanted to say was we're waiting for the reason that we have it on the agenda today is because we were waiting for the audit so we could see what actually was the balance in the B part fund. So we know how much would be reasonable to move. We didn't leave that a shortfall in there if we needed it for something else. Despite that, The other thing is that last year, about this time, we moved the 2.7 million per policy from the general fund over to the beach and inlet fund. So it's not unusual to have large sums of money being moved at this time. We wanted to wait and see what the audit was. We now see what the beach thing is. If you look at what Fran just went through, in 2017, we did the big beach renourishment. Then we had another one in 22. That's only 5 years later. And now we're 3.5 years from that. So we're really putting ourselves in a dangerous situation to not have that fund be where it needs to be, or at least moving in the right direction. So having said that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 3.3 million budget amendment and execute a transfer of 4 million from B part into the Beach and Inlet Capital Reserve Fund immediately.
Second.
Motion made and second. Discussion, anyone? Tom?
This is very important to me. The reason is we bought our house here in 1998. And for almost 20 years, there were many days where there was no dry sand at high tide, at the big high tides. And our house is right next to a public access walkway. So we watched people, families with all their beach stuff, come down the public access walkway, get to the top of the stairs, look at the beach, realize there was no place to set up chairs and umbrellas, turn around and walk back home. And we need to avoid that. That is not what we want to head towards. So you heard the earlier debate. Personally, I think 4 million is kind of light. I mean, I know Oak Island saved up 40 million. These projects are extremely expensive. I think it's very important, fiscally responsible, to make sure we don't get caught with no sand and no money to finance sand. So that's why it's important to me, and I think that we need to do this. And if it's a legacy thing from this board, but it's the right thing to do. It's very important to get it done.
Anyone else?
We have 700,000 budgeted already to go into that fund. We're 4 months into a new budget. I just think before we move that amount of money and tie it where it's restricted, that we should have some discussion. It should get closer to I don't know why we're rushing money in 3 years into a budget. It's not to say that we're not gonna put it in. I don't disagree that we need to put some in, but to tie up that amount of money, especially the situation with the federal government recently in a shutdown, we still have some projects going on, the bathrooms, Black Q. We have ADA compliance stuff going on, and I just, before tying that amount of money, we still have till July that we should have a discussion, and certainly with the election 2 weeks ago, there's two new board members coming on, and I think they should be involved in that discussion. Also, we tasked the audit committee about this, and we haven't gotten anything back from them. So I don't know what happened with the task for that, and we haven't had a report back from them, as far as I understand. I just think it's being rushed.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to address the audit committee because we met yesterday. We were not tasked to come up with an amount to transfer to protect beach nourishment. It was an approach, a policy for looking at the BPART funds so that we can look at, what money is available, what money is already previous committed or legally committed by ordinance, what money is tagged for a capital project in the SIT plan, and how much is available and discretionary. So they were not tasked with coming up with a $4 million figure or 6 million or 2 million or whatever. They're making good progress. It'll probably report back hopefully in January.
So why are we not waiting until that report comes through?
It's not going to address this issue.
Right. I just don't know what the rush is. We're only 3 months into a budget. We've got a budget of 700,000. There needs to be some type of discussion, some staff input before you move that amount of money into a restricted fund.
Anybody else? Rick?
Again, this is the same old 3-2, so why don't we just end the daggone process and vote, please? 'Cause that's the way it's gonna be.
You calling for the vote?
Wasting my breath.
Are you calling for the vote?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
It's 3-2, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Calling is something else. Hold on, you bitches.
All right, number 18, public comments. At this time, if you'll raise your hand and be recognized and come, the lady in the red jacket, who has been here a long time. She's not but 39 years old.
26 Canal Drive. I don't need to question something, but you say on here that you graded all dirt streets on. There are only 3 streets that have an entrance and an exit at both ends, the Canal, Brunswick, and Holden Beach Road. So it needs to be done. Well, we've got an awful out there already. The end of the spring. Okay, thank you.
Miss Surprise.
Hello, good evening. Maria Surprise, 159 Ocean Boulevard East. I'm speaking on behalf of the Holden Beach Properties Owners Association. Wanted to let you guys know that the HBPOA straw poll on the peer referendum closed November 15th. Thank you to everyone who participated. There were 901 votes cast, with each vote representing a property owner household, not an individual. For context, there are approximately 2,500 such properties on Holden Beach, and only about 25% of those have one or more registered voters that were eligible to vote in the election. The straw poll was worded exactly as the ballot referendum, and of the 901 votes cast, there were 568 no votes and 333 yes votes, 63 against, 37% for the bond referendum. These results indicate that the majority of property owners who responded to the survey do not want to raise taxes to pay for a pier, and these results almost identically align with the results at the ballot box. So HVPOA will host its final meeting of 2025 this Saturday right here. We will have more details on the straw poll and the process and the lessons we've learned, and there are quite a few. We will also have two of our community heroes coming. We've got Miss Dee Carlisle of the Holden Beach Merchants Association and Tina Bowen of the Suds of Blood Truck, and they're going to share how they're helping our community through their good works. So I hope to see you on Saturday at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Carl?
Will Carter, 108 Starfish Drive. After hearing about beef and moving his trailer and anything, I would just like to reiterate again that the town owns the property at the corner of Greensboro and Ocean Boulevard. And we can use that. It's about $1 million worth of property if it was saleable. But we've talked to the Corps of Engineers, CAMA, and everybody involved, and the Department of DEQ, and they say we can use those lots that are already deeded to the town for a emergency response fire station. I've talked to Chief Ward, talked to Chris Clemens now for 2 years. All we'd have to do is ask for it, and we would be able to use that. It's a higher elevation. It has more parking for the firemen to come and park up downside of Greensboro Street. That could be restricted parking for emergency use only. When I was talking to Chris, just like they say, they've got to go across that bridge every time they want to get a shovel. And the other building can be used for the maintenance department. They can park all their equipment there. They have bathrooms there, place to eat, park, to get onto the beach. All their stuff can be there. All you have to do is ask. And had the head of CAMA in New Bern called me up after I talked to DEQ, and he said, just get the commissioners to ask for it. Then all we would have to do is bulkhead the little area right between Greensboro and Ocean Boulevard. We'd have a new station spot that would be big enough to put a building large enough for the ladder truck, which is the most important thing on the beach. But we'd also have room to put the sewer truck and everything else that the maintenance department needs in the other building. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Oh, just a minute, Marty, we got one on the way.
Richard Wygan, 359 Serenity Lane. I'd like to commend all of those involved in the rebuilding of the public beach access ramp at the end of Jordan Boulevard. It's excellent. What a godsend it is. At that same point, though, Mr. Wade talked about the upper beach. The upper beach is really only element that beachgoers care about. I mean, it's great a quarter mile offshore, but I don't know anyone walking out there. The upper beach at the end of Jordan Boulevard, if at a high tide you're down there during the late summer, it's really crowded. So I don't know anything can be done about building or rebuilding the upper beach, but it's gotten very narrow. And third and lastly, the inlet, Lockwood Folly, there has been significant erosion. You walk around that end and you can just see that it's almost a concave water coming back in, approaching. So things are changing.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
I'm here to put a plug in for Miss Christie. The turkey trot the morning of Thanksgiving, please show up. And if you can't walk or you can't run, stop by and see us with a couple of canned goods, because that's what we collect. I've been helping for about the last 5 years. Last year, we almost had a pickup truck bed loaded with canned goods that are going to the local pantry that go here. And I do know I came in from town this morning, and I think it was the Baptist Church. They had their food pantry, and they had lined up past the turnoff into Holden Beach Road going into Charlotte, almost back to the stoplight with people waiting to try to get into that food pantry. So there's a great need. We can't take cash, so just bring your canned goods, and we're going to try to load up one of Beef's pickup trucks this year. So please, it's early in the morning. We'll be done in 2 hours. You can go back. I've done it. I get home to see the Macy's parade. So please come help us.
Thank you. Anyone else? Rob?
Chad Hawk, 1222 Ocean Boulevard West. Three things. Fran, thank you for coming out again. My worry though is, and hasn't been discussed here by the board, and I haven't seen it on any agendas, is the inlet hazard area and what the study's been doing on that and what's happening here this week on it and how that's going to affect this town. A little over what, 400 homes are affected by it if they reclassify it, and I haven't seen this town do anything about it. So I'm asking you guys to take some action. That's what I'll say right there. Secondly, on beach nourishment, I appreciate, this is going to go to Fran again. I do live on the west end. I have seen how that bay is gone and what it's doing, but I also see the dune that connected to Monk Island disappearing. So I don't know if that's part of your study, but I've watched what we've seen. We all like this, the mailbox that used to be over there. It's been washed away. There was a dune that we could walk up and still have another 6 feet on it. It's down to about a foot tall. So some work is happening there from that terminal groin or something else. So a small item, this is for the runner and me, the ADA tactical warning surfaces, the little bumps where they're screwed down, they're supposed to be covered. The screws are now exposed in a lot of areas. I don't know who's in charge of that, but I'm gonna tell you, I had several people who have ripped their feet, and kids have run across it as well because the screws are actually done. And then lastly, Christmas is upon us. This was great. I saw what Maria was doing. I heard what Dee was doing as well. But the Brunswick Family Assistance, there are a lot of families right now. Yes, we live here at Holden Beach. We are well off, all of us in this room. But there's over 500 kids aren't going to get gifts if we don't help. So help. All right, that's all I'd say.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else?
John Woods, 159 Ocean Boulevard East. I want to bring up one positive thing, talking about the dunes. And 2 years ago, Alan Holden came to a HBPOA meeting and encouraged us, if you live on the ocean, put 10-10-10 on the dunes right before it rains. Winding River has been doing that. 162 Ocean Boulevard East, 7 lots. The difference between those 7 lots and what's on either side of them is stark. Our dunes are not dormant. They are alive and growing. So he'd do that. You've been here forever. You know. He knows. So if you live on the ocean, fertilize your dunes. Yes, and sir. If you know someone that can't afford it or doesn't want to do it, help them do it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Kim Kirkpatrick, 1068 Ocean Boulevard West. I'm not a full-time resident. The first time I ever came here was 4 or 5 years ago and absolutely fell in love with this place because it's quiet. It's a family beach. Right now, my place is a rental and a vacation spot for me, but I hope eventually I'll be a full-time resident. I'm a flight attendant. I'm based in Charlotte, so I can't live here full-time yet. I need this piece of this beach because I see 400 people every day when I go to work. It's terrible, but at least the money's finally good. When I can come off season, I can be the only person out on the beach. That is calming for my soul. One reason that we bought here was because there was a pier. I know that is a very controversial subject, I do not want our taxes to go up, but I don't know how we can pay for it. I don't want anyone to blast me because I do want a pier here. I don't live here full time, so I don't know what y'all go through, as full-time residents. But I do know that my sons and myself, we do like to fish. And it's nice to have that feature. I know somebody said they would like for this to be like a resort town, to bring in lots of people on vacation. And on one hand, I agree with that because we do need that to support the community. But on the other hand, this place is such a rare thing to find, with the calmness, the family feel, the non-commercialization, no high-rise hotels, no high-rise condos, no commercial stores or restaurants on the island. I hope you all know how fortunate you are to live here full-time and to own here. And I hope that it stays that way, because that's why I love it. So I would like somebody to explain to me sometime about the pros and cons of having a pier and how it can be funded and what the parking money goes to. And I know this is not the time or place because our time is limited, but I would like to have a discussion with somebody about that. Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, thank you all for coming. Oh.
So close, so close.
We're all rooting.
I'd like to, Keith Smith, 105 Durham. I'd like to reiterate a couple things that have been said tonight. The HBPOA is going to have D in, which is working with the BFA to help children in our community. The disadvantage, one of the disadvantages of living here, even though it's a beautiful place, our taxes are typically higher than anybody on the mainland. And that's a disadvantage. But the advantage to that is we have found the opportunity to be blessed, probably one of the best blessed people to live in Holden Beach and to live where we live. And so with that comes financial opportunities that others may not have. And so we have some discretionary spending. May not be a lot, but it might be some. And so I would encourage us to reach out to the HBPOA, go to their meeting, get in touch with Dee, and just pick a child or pick two. I've got 10 in my house. But if you could pick one or pick two or even pick 10, it's not an extreme amount. If you want places to be able to give, the Holden Beach Community Alliance has a fundraiser right now. You can give as little as $1. So every little bit helps. All that money goes directly, from my understanding, all that money goes directly, whether it's HBPOA, HBCA, online, whatever the case may be, you can give it to them direct. But those are kids in our communities, and like Chad mentioned, the list is it's like 500 kids. 129 we know for sure have nothing, and then the other between those two is like a little list. And Dee's not here tonight, but I'll put a plug in for her. Miss D has worked with the Holden Beach Merchant Association forever. She's gotten a lot of stuff for the police department. Apparently, she's not going to buy you tools now, though. So I was like on my list. I'm like, nope, not going to get that now. But she's really involved, and she works hard. I mean, she's one of the hardest people that work on this island and off. But the list she was getting, she was sharing it with me, and the list is not like, can I get the new, whatever the new Disney movie is character, or new Marvel character. It's like, can I get sheets? Can I get pillowcases? I mean, these are kids in our communities asking if they can get new sheets. So, and I don't say that to make us feel bad, but it is perspective. So if you have $5 or $10 or $20, when we all come together, we can make a difference in some of these kids' lives. And we've been blessed, and I think we should take some of that. And I'm not speaking out of turn. I mean, there's several in here that I've seen where you guys have given. And so I'm just encouraging everybody, if you're listening, I guess Christy, let's see if we can't raise some money and do something significant for our community, because we've been very blessed. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Anybody else? If not, Commissioners, anybody want to make a motion with adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you all for being here.
No, that's fine with me.